the Dallas Mavericks got Cooper Flagg last week. They've put together a nice roster. They just signed D'Lo. Kyrie's going to be returning in the spring. And just a couple months ago, Nico was getting a ton of flack for letting go of Luka. I mean, that was one of the craziest, moves we've seen in a while. So from a player's perspective, P, with the roster that they have now, I want to know, do you think that the Mavericks got better?
That's a tough question with what they gave up, right? Like, you don't minimize what Luka has been for that franchise. But when you think about a team being constructed with what Cooper can bring, with a healthy Kyrie coming back, probably more later, second half of the season, D'Lo's proven to be a veteran point guard. You still got one of the best elite shooters in Klay. And then one of the most efficient bigs that we've seen in Gafford. Not to mention a top 5 player in AD. So, and with that, their bench is pretty strong with Najee, with Washington, Lively. Like they have a really good roster when healthy and everybody is kind of clicking. And what I love most about it is, as good as Cooper is, he's not asked to come in right away and, you know what I mean? Like, he gets to, it's so many, that's one of the best things I think a young player can have, right? Regardless of where you're drafted, skill set, is good vets around you. He's coming in with some of the best vets that knows how to win, who have won, and it's a culture, I think, there with Jason Kidd being the coach. So, man, I like what Dallas got.
They do got everything. Young, the old, everything.
They do. I like it from this perspective, is that, like you said, Cooper doesn't have to come in and kind of the weight of the world is on his shoulder to have to be able to be a rookie, understand the league, and win games and get this Mavericks team to a playoffs or wherever it may be. But it's a couple of things too, though. If you backtrack and look at the history with Luka and the Mavericks, it's been some tension a little bit with Nico and upstairs. And when it hit, everybody's like, "This, you can't do that." But you got to see, you got new ownership. That's not Mark Cuban.
Right.
That's this whole different family. Their background is casinos. Okay. They're making money in a different way. They're looking at it from the holistic business side, and they're like, "Hold up, are we paying $350 million for somebody we can't trust?" And that's their. Nico can't make that decision, in his world by himself. Ownership got to sign. Either they go sign off on, if Nico goes in and says, "Listen, we really need to sign him for $350," they got to make a decision.
Right.
Okay, and it goes both ways. So I think he got unfairly criticized for it, but he's the GM. So when you made the Gafford trade, when you made the Lively trade, when you got Klay, they patted you on the back. When you got Kyrie, they patted you on the back. So when Luka come, you got to take that side of it too. Now you got a player like, I think, Cooper Flagg. I got a chance to cover him in college. So I got a chance when they played at Madison Square Garden against St. John's, and I got him in the tournament. So I got a chance to really watch him play. Oh, bro, he nice. But you know what it is? He got a motor.
Yep.
And I think that's what separated him and Ace Bailey when we was talking about who's like kind of the best. I think skill set wise, they're right like this. Ace can go. But Cooper's motor is a different level, and he don't need to rock.
Yeah.
He was, John Schreider, coach, was like, "Man, he's too unselfish. I got to goad him to have to shoot more and be selfish." Because he just, so I think his mentality is not like that, which is why I think he'll fit in perfectly with AD, with D'Lo, with Klay, with those guys, because he'll just add, I think, another layer of playmaking. He can shoot it, he can spread the floor, he can run, he's athletic, without trying to go out there and be rookie of the year.
Right.
So you're, because I've never seen Cooper Flagg play, but you've
never seen him?
No, I've never seen him
You
play
never
in
watched the
person.
game? Oh, in person.
Okay,
And
okay.
I just think that we haven't had, maybe Zion was touted, but he was more like an athletic freak. Like, do you think, when's the last time we've had a player entering the draft of Cooper Flagg's caliber? I'm curious on your take on that.
I liken him to a lot like Keith Van Horn, athleticism, size, but a lot like Jason Tatum too, like a combination between the two, okay? Because the people forget how good Keith Van Horn was at Utah coming out of college. They forget about that. Athletic, 6'10", can run the floor, can shoot it. And now you combine kind of footwork with Jason Tatum, step backs, pivots, and then making plays. To me, I look at that combination, and I'm trying to think of who came in at his size at 6'10", that in the last, let's say, 10 years. You know, Brandon Ingram is a little bit different. Brandon is not making the same kind of plays that Cooper is making. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's really hard to compare. Jason Tatum, he's 6'8". Well, Jason might be 6'9", right?
Yeah. JT up there.
Yeah, he up there, right? So he may be as close, you know, with regards to that. But I think the motor in which Cooper has is just different, man.
And would you say he's just as good on the defensive side of the ball? Because when I'm looking at it, it's the NBA is a different beast.
Of course.
There's better athletes. Everyone is more skilled. Yeah. And I think the comparison or the pros and cons of getting rid of Luka has been, look, Luka's an offensive juggernaut. There's no question about it. But a lot of people have their doubts on the defensive side of the ball. And here comes Cooper Flagg, where he's a two-way player. Do you think that he's going to be a two-way player in the NBA, given how talented everyone in the league is?
I'll say this. Talking to John Shire, head coach at Duke, when they played St. John's, this had to be maybe December, January maybe, and a lot of it was him learning his defensive principles at that time as a freshman. Okay, learning those principles. By the time he got to the tournament, the conversation wasn't the same. He was a better defensive player because his IQ and how he played the game, how he analyzed it, and the work he put in. So to answer your question, I think he'll be just fine because he's surrounded too. You think about it, by Gafford, by Lively, by AD. Okay, now you're gonna have to, and even Clay is not the two-way player he was, but still, it's just not like Olay. So he's gonna be surrounded by guys that can cover him until he gets his bearing straight on how to play because how you play defense in this league, and you were one of the best two-way players in the league. You had to figure out little nuances of how to play, not just your guy, but different guys. You know, and the way the league is now, you're switching everything.
Right.
So how you guard a power forward and a wing is going to be different how you guard a point guard. So all those nuances he'll learn, man.